Hello and welcome back to another Talking Tale video. In today's one, we're going to be looking at the TMNT, the Archie Adventures, issue number 4. And this one is supposed to be adapting the second part of episode 2 from the 1987 TMNT TV show. I can't remember what the episode's called, so I've gone back to look at what actually happened in the show. So hopefully what I'm saying in the actual episode, or this issue, is actually making a lot more sense, and I'm not, I don't know where I'm really going with this, but either way, with this one was dealing with the second half, and then with Toes growing back to normal shape and size, and Splinter fighting with Shredder, which, yeah, it happened. So, yeah. Okay, so for some negatives, okay, like with all the other issues, the background, it's not really there most of the time. It's just, again, either white colours or it has, what am I trying to say? Not white colours, there's a white background, or just have a one colour background, either like blue or pink or something like that. And they do try and mix up a little bit with some of the layer bits where they do put a little bit of background stuff in there, or with the lab fight at the end where they do put some machines in there. It's, well, they're trying to, at the very least, trying to put some stuff in there, but at the same time, I don't feel like they're not putting in enough effort which they should be putting into it, because this is a comic which they're putting out, and yet they do something like this, and I'm ashamed to admit that I actually own an issue of this, so, yeah, I think that speaks a lot more about me than it does about the actual comic itself, so, yeah, great going to me, but yeah, and then also to say that also like another big issue with this one, which I haven't noticed in any of the other issues, is the fact that I felt like with one of the scenes in particular, it was like put out of order, just because at the beginning of the issue, it's Shredder and Baxter and they're talking, and then next bit is something to do with Splinter and April. They're wondering like, oh yeah, what's gonna happen to Toes and all that. Next bit, cut over to Shredder talking to Baxter, and Baxter's like, well, you see, Master, I have this device and I can find the turtles. The next bit, you see the turtles in the sewer bit fighting with Snake, and this one do come in contact with Baxter at the very end, which happens in the episode, I think, but I don't think it happens in that exact way. So I had to wonder, just like, because I feel like with this, like, I have to say that overall the scenes, they were pretty good. I just felt like, had they been placed around a little bit more betterly, then I do feel like some of them would have been better, and I do feel like it would not have felt like, oh, Baxter's like in one part of town, and then next minute, oh, he's in the river, and automatically, it just seems so weird how it's able to do like that kind of stuff. I do feel like it was, like, I wouldn't say it's a missed opportunity, because they had all the scenes there. I just felt like they could have managed them a little bit better to make it a little bit decent. But I think that's the one of the biggest problems about this one, which it annoyed me, because it, like, everything was there, but they just screwed it up so badly somehow. I don't understand how, but yeah. And then also some other bits which I wasn't too pleased with, because I don't know if this actually happened in the show. I'm pretty sure it most likely did. But I've got a scene with Splinter fighting Shredder, and it's so weird just because Splinter's like, you know, I'm your master, and you know, I'm going to beat the students. But when you look back at the origin story, he was not the master? Or am I forgetting something? Because I don't think I am. But at the same time, how did they screw that up? Because I think even in the actual origin story of this series, when they actually adapted it into comics, I'm pretty sure they didn't mention anything about him being a master or Shredder. So, I'm not too sure what went wrong there. Unless it did actually happen in the actual episode, which I wouldn't be too surprised. But at the same time, just in that point, it's just like, how did they screw up 2 times? That's like so bizarre and weird, but decent enough, I want to say. So yeah, but yeah, that's all the things that annoy me for this one. So then for some good stuff, I mean, I enjoyed the actual episode itself, and I did say a lot of like good stuff about it in the last issue review, saying how much I enjoyed it. But I do feel like the majority of the good stuff from the episode happened in the last issue, so I feel like with this issue, it's just more just like, okay, I just want to get through these next like 30 plus pages to get to the next story. So I do feel like a lot of my enjoyment for this issue really did go down the drain, just because the parts which I really did enjoy were already done with, so there wasn't too much I can really look forward to. Not to mention with how they did it in the show, just the comics, they also had to have the status quo which I had to return to, which isn't necessarily bad, but I just think that like once you know like where everything's been going, it sort of like loses any sort of stakes in the show just because you're like, oh well, Turtle's gonna get back together, they're gonna go tall and all that kind of stuff, and Shredder's gonna lose and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff like that was just like I lost a lot of interest in this issue, but I enjoyed it enough, I want to say. So then there was some good parts. Oh boy, was there any good parts? Okay, so there was one part where Shredder was like, because he hit Splinter, which first of all was really weird, just because Splinter is about to fight Shredder. Then also you see a panel that says kick, and then Splinter goes flying across the room. And the next bit, you got Shredder says, Shredder, advantage. What? And then, also that bit is even weirder just because I do see like a few pages later, you do get to see a panel where Shredder does kick Splinter. So, I'm not too sure why they couldn't show it in one panel, but I could show it in another. I'm just so confused by that. Just like, why? It was so stupid. But yeah, and then also another part which has always annoyed me about this episode, and I'll say that even the actual episode itself, I always hated this bit. Is like when Shredder gets to Crystal at the end, he runs off and Shredder's like, "Oh no, my sons, don't go do it because it's useless." He literally just went down the hole like a few seconds ago. But Tails could have easily catched up with him, and then Lino just comes up and be like, "Oh man, I feel like we let you down, Master." And it's just like, what are you talking about? Splinter was the one who said like, "No, don't go do it because it'd be pointless." Like, I do feel like the whole scene is just so annoyingly stupid because there were so many things they could have done differently to actually improve it to become a decent scene. But I know that because it was near the end of the actual story and episode, they couldn't do that stuff. But at the same time, it's like, why didn't they bring that stuff earlier into the actual episode? There's so much about that scene which I absolutely hate because they could have done stuff to do, like, they could have done anything, but yet they didn't. It's just like, why? But yeah, I mean, overall for this story, or issue I should say, it was decent enough, but again, like, most of my interest already was gone just because stuff which I was interested in happened in the last issue, and I already knew where things were going to be going, so I had little to no interest in this issue. I was somewhat curious to see how they was going to wrap things up for this issue, and I'm more curious to see how they're going to be doing things in the next one issues, because in the next few issues they are new original stories, so I'm quite curious to see a lot more things about that in terms of like if they're going to be keeping up with the whole Crystal storyline or anything along those kind of lines. So there's all stuff which I'm interested in, but it's not because of this issue. So yeah, I mean overall for these episode adaptations, they were good enough, but just didn't add anything to the story. I just think it would have been better just to watch the actual episode themselves. So yeah. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. If you please share this scrub stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.